In my case, for refusing to go back to Iraq, a lot of people have called me coward. But it's been such a long journey for me that I realized that if there was cowardice, it was in the beginning, when I didn't have the strength to say I'm not going to participate here, and then throughout my deployment when we did all of these things and I knew that they were wrong, but I was too afraid and too concerned with my own survival. So I don't totally deny that there was lots of fear and perhaps even some cowardice, but not in the way that people view it. People want to call into question my ability to go out there and do my job as an infantryman, and I never really hesitated. I did my job, and that's where my guilt lies. Not in the fact that I didn't do my job as a soldier, but in the fact that I did it knowing that it was wrong because I was too afraid. So when people call me coward, at this point I don't really care. At this point I'm really at ease and I have peace. After everything that I've done and the journey I've followed, it doesn't really affect me anymore.
If there's cowardice, it's on my behalf. I mean, it's not like I knew I was in danger, and acknowledging that you're in danger and staying in danger isn't an act of courage, so much as where are your principles and how are you in line with them. And I disagreed with the war, and I was doing it anyway. And to me, I was in Iraq not because I was courageous, but because I was a coward. In that sense. How do I respond? I'm not always at peace when people say that. When most people say it, I am. But I was actually, just before we got here, I was listening to our friend Adam Kokish was on the Fox News radio show.
Today?
No, I think it was last week. And they were saying things like that, and I knew that the commentators had never been to Iraq, or never been in the military at all. And I wasn't at peace with that. It's like you say it to me, if you really feel I'm a coward, then fine. You can come to terms with that, I can come to terms with that. But if you probably don't even think that and are just saying it to undermine what people are doing to stop a war, that's so damaging. Like, I'm not at peace with that. Like, I really dislike those people. I really dislike people who can sit on their perch and say you're a coward, when all they're trying to do is increase the misery of lots of different people who they'll never have their feet in their shoes. So I'm not always at peace.
What is sort of the strategy of your work, and what opportunities do you see for us to play a role in supporting that, or for different types of constituency groups? Where do you see the opportunities kind of bubbling up?
A lot of people don't realize that it was really 3 forms of resistance that ended the Vietnam War. The resistance of the Vietnamese people, the resistance of a massive amount of civil unrest here at home, and the resistance of people in the military not wanting to fight effectively anymore. Granted, Congress eventually did say we have to end this war, but they did so because they were faced with the consequence, with the choice of, do we want a military that functions and executes the United States policy, or do we not? Are we going to let it crumble? So they were stuck with this decision of, these soldiers are not carrying out the policy in the way which we want them to. They're dropping bombs in the ocean instead of on Vietnam. They're sometimes killing their officers, sometimes going on patrols where they know there is no enemy. Like, those things add up. I'd say we kind of have to realize that it's a different time and different place completely, but also take some lessons from that. And I think that we do have chapters of Iraq Veterans Against the War on military bases, and that is the key component. That is building relationships and actively organizing people, educating, bringing people into a fold where they feel supported by what they do. Organizing on military bases is the first and foremost. And how does that happen? In Vietnam, there was basically a coffee house, an anti-war coffee house outside of every military base. That was a safe. We have that at one of our Fort Drum, New York. That is a crucial thing. Like, that is a safe place for people to come and feel like they can talk about things that are normally taboo, And there was thousands, hundreds, I should say, newspapers, GI produced, active duty produced newspapers that were anti-war newspapers in Vietnam. We have recently started our own. It's called SITREP, which is like military lingo for a situation report. Having something that people can hold in their hands and realize that they can dialogue. It's okay for people to talk about these things. That's important. It's very important. Really, I think the root of it is building relationships and organizing. So what are we doing? We try to build these chapters. We try to go there. You know, we had a bus tour this summer. We actually went to military bases. We go and visit Fort Drum. I did care packages in Christmas last year and brought them to Marines, sent them to Marines. So those are some of the things we're doing. We're constantly learning how to do it better, but I think Camilo can also.
Yeah, no, that's certainly our strategy to withdraw support from the military support from the war, and we're doing that by organizing active duty bases and reaching out to veterans, and we're also doing that by going into schools. Like a lot of our members go into schools and talk to young people who are targeted by the military, and one approach, I think the prevailing approach is not to tell young people don't join the military, but to basically go in there and basically present them with the full story. Like perhaps in your case it's the same as mine. Recruiters will go in there in really poor communities and say, you get paid this much, you'll get these benefits, you get adventure, you get camaraderie, all the things that basically get people to sign up a military contract that don't include, torture, that don't include, improvised explosive devices, that don't include losing your legs to a bomb, So we go out there and we say, yeah, well, some of those things are true, but here's also this side of the story. So that's a key component too, because it's not just people who are already in the military, but also people who are being recruited. And the military is basically preying upon poverty and lack of options, to basically fill its ranks. So we need to withdraw that support, and we need to withdraw the support from the active duty in terms of them not re-enlisting, in terms of them resisting. If that's what they choose to do, we will support them. So one of our main goals right now is to put it out there to GIs, people in the military, that if they refuse this illegal war, that we've got their back. This is an illegal war. We have a duty to disobey it. We have a duty to do the right thing. And if you choose to not go back to Iraq or to not go in the first place, you're well within your right to do that, and you're not alone. There's an organization here of veterans who have been through what you're going through, who stand 100% behind you.